Yo, what's good with y'all, man? Welcome back to the channel. It's Swervo Hoops, and today we're gonna be talking about some hoops, man. Now, for today's video, we're gonna be talking about the top 10 shooting guards in the league right now for this season. And remember, everyone on this list, it is my opinion once again. And also, I wanted to address one thing too, in terms of like the stats and shit in the video. When I was editing the stats and like the numbers and shit for the players, it was like a couple days before the season had ended, so the stats might be a little inaccurate for those like nerds out there that might like, you know what I'm saying, like double fact check or whatever. So I just wanted to address that before we get into this video. But anyways, without wasting too much of y'all time, let's get into this video, man, and who's in the honorable mentions. On the honorable mentions list, we got Evan Fournier, Klay Thompson, Karis LeVert, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson, and RJ Barrett. Now, the reason why I have Klay Thompson on the honorable mention list is because I do want to pay my respects. Of course, he would make this list if he comes back the same Klay Thompson that he once was for Golden State. But, of course, because he was injured this entire season, he just made the honorable mentions. And, yeah, it is what it is. Of course, he didn't play, so I couldn't put him in the top 10, being fair to the rest of the players that did play at least most of the season. So, with that being said, let's get into this top 10 list, all right? Again, let's start it with the top 10. We got Terry Rozier coming in at number 10 for the Charlotte Hornets. Now, Terry Rozier had himself a breakout season this year, averaging 20 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists on solid shooting splits. He was a consistent scoring option for Charlotte this year. And even when LaMelo and Gordon Hayward went out this year, he still helped keep the team afloat. And just barely enough for them to make the play-in, obviously, with LaMelo coming back towards the end of the season and Gordon Hayward remaining out the rest of the year. With the season Rozier had, he proved a lot of his doubters wrong, being traded from Boston to Charlotte and signing a 3-year contract with Charlotte, showing he actually can be a consistent scoring option for them, as I said, and that he was actually worth the money that they paid him in the 2019 offseason. He's even shown that he's a decent defender on that side of the ball for them. And he doesn't have to really make much improvement on his playmaking abilities, being that they got LaMelo and Gordon Hayward, who are solid on that side of the ball for them. So even though Charlotte didn't make it that deep in the playoffs this year, and, well, they didn't really even make it in general, they definitely do got a brighter future ahead for them. And after this contract is up, if he can continue playing as well as he played this season, he might even be able to get himself more money on the market. So, yeah, I mean, other than that really being said, he definitely deserved the 10th spot on this list for me. At number 9, we got CJ McCollum of the Portland Trail Blazers. And although he did miss a significant amount of time with the fractured foot he suffered back in January, and he was balling in the first first 13 games of the season. He was averaging about like 27 points on some shit. And although, yeah, he cooled off just a little bit when he came back from his injury, he still proved to be the same CJ McCollum that he's always been for the Blazers for the past 5 years. A consistent second scoring option for their team. And although, yeah, he's not going to give you much on the other side of the ball because of his size, he definitely will guarantee you buckets at the end of the day. He's one of the more efficient scorers in today's league for sure, too. And as I said for Chris Middleton for the last video, I do feel like CJ is up there with being one of the best second options in the league by far as well. And yeah, man, I feel like with the way that Portland's season ended this year, his future on that team might not be that certain, because I feel like people are always cheering for him to get traded to get something better maybe, but I don't really feel like there's much they can really get other than that's a whole nother video, to be honest. But yeah, CJ McCollum got the nice spot on this list. The number 8 spot, we got Jrue Holiday of the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, although he maybe isn't as good of a scorer as CJ McCollum, I do feel like he could step up to the plate on that side of the ball when asked to. And this year, although he was a third scoring option for Milwaukee, he still averaged 17 points on very solid shooting efficiency. And of course, it does help that Giannis and Chris Middleton is his teammates, so the defenses isn't as focused on him as he was in New Orleans. But we can also not ignore the fact that this man is also one of the best defenders in the league, and in my opinion, the best perimeter defender in the league. Jrue Holiday's ability to remain in front of the ball handler and fight through screens, whether it's off the ball or on the ball, and still be able to hold his own against even taller matchups at times, and be a very solid defender for his team, any team he's on, is something that is very underrated and just not common in guards, especially around his size. He's also able to intercept passing lanes and just be a very good on-the-ball defender, no matter who he's guarding, whether it's in the post or just on the perimeter. He was 8th in the league in steals, I think, and he played a very big part in why Milwaukee was a top 5 defense this year. So, yeah, man. He got that number 8 spot. Coming in at the number 7 spot, we got Zach LaVine of the Chicago Bulls. And this year, he's averaged 27 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, on 50% from the field, 41% from 3, and 85% from the line. I feel like in terms of offense, there is no questions or weakness in this man's game. He can score and do it all on that side of the ball. Where questions come in for Zach LaVine is if he can become a better playmaker for his teammates and if he can really be consistent on the defensive side of the ball. But to be honest, at the rate that he scores, he's so great at it. It's like, I think you could just put pieces around him and you probably can get yourself a playoff spot, to be honest. And Chicago's starting to do that, especially with that Vucevic trade. It's just unfortunate that he got injured around that time and he did miss some time to really get enough of a sample size of those two. But with those two, I feel like that's a pretty bright future to have. And yeah, man, Zach LaVine was 7th in points per game and 25th in efficiency for even as bad as Chicago finished this season. And even though they missed the play-in tournament this year, I do feel like I said, the injury had a big part to do with that. And just the pieces he has around him isn't that good enough. But shit, if we're talking about the individual, he's one of the best scorers we got in today's league right now. And he's definitely qualified enough to be a 7th spot on this list. And at the number 6 spot, we got Jayson Brown of the Boston Celtics. This year, he averaged almost 25 points, 6 rebounds, 48% from the field, and 39% from 3, shooting career highs from his field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, and free throw percentage. It is no secret that Jayson Brown has made a massive leap in his offensive game for the Celtics this year, proving that he can be a legitimate second scoring option alongside Tatum for the team, showing that him and Tatum will be good two-way players in this league for years to come. Now, in terms of Jaylen, though, he hasn't been that good on that side of the ball this year as years prior, but he's still a really good on-ball defender, and part of the decrease in defensive consistency has just been because of the scoring output that he has put on throughout the season. Now, in terms of how he's gotten better, though, his shot creation, his ball handling, and just offensive IQ has just seemed to adjusted more and more to the NBA. And mind you, this is only his 4th or 5th season. He's only going to get better. He's even become slightly better of a playmaker and creating for his teammates. And there was even a period in this season where he was averaging like 26, 27 points. And in my opinion, I was just like, whoa, is this dude like a front runner for most improved? But it did fall back down to earth a little bit to like 24, 25 points a game. And not to say that that's a bad thing or whatever, because it's still higher than seasons prior. And he's only going to get better, like I said, hopefully. But yeah, man, he got 6th spot on this list. And who knows, in the future, he might even enter the top 5, man. We just got to see. And then at number 5, we got Paul George of the Los Angeles Clippers. And yeah, I get it. Ever since basically this man has left Indiana, he has been like he's probably been one of the more famous NBA All-Star memes in the league by his disappointing playoff performances. And look, man, Russ is my favorite player. So like when he was in OKC, it was pretty disappointing to see the inconsistencies from Paul George in those playoffs, but I can't sit up here and act like Russ didn't, you know what I'm saying, like do what he did. Anyway, we're not gonna talk about that, you feel what I'm saying? But let's not disrespect this man, you feel me? He's one of the best two-way players we got in today's league right now. Although this year's playoff is starting to show that Paul George maybe isn't as good of a defender as we hype him up to be, but still, we can't deny the fact that he is a really good defender in the regular season when it matters at times. And yeah, man, he had an incredible regular season for the Clippers. He's even improved his playmaking abilities, his efficiency and shooting splits. Him and Kawhi, man, they really almost both put up 50, 40, 90 splits. Paul George is probably as good as it gets when we're talking second options in the league today. And all memes aside, he's still a top 20 to 25 player in the league. And man's still a bucket. He's still a pretty solid defender on his best days. And the Clippers just had probably the best three-point shooting season in history for a team. So, and he was a part of that, shooting 41% from three. So, yeah, I mean, he's improved on his playmaking skills and just creating for other teammates and just adjusting to being a second option in the best way possible next to Kawhi. And we'll see how deep the Clippers make it in the playoffs this year. But shit, I mean, if we're talking regular season this year, he's definitely qualified for that number 5 spot. At the number 4 spot, we got Mr. Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns this year, posting averages of 25 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 48% from the field and 34% from three, shooting 86% from the line on about 6 attempts a game. Now, when you're talking some of the best scorers in the league, Devin Booker is definitely amongst that conversation. He also even has an ability to be a solid playmaker for his teammates. But of course, with the addition of CP3 this season, he has been a decent playmaker for them, only when they choose to play him at point guard at certain times in the game. Last year, they used him as more of a point guard role. Last season, he averaged about 6 assists. But you can definitely tell watching Devin Booker's game that he is more naturally suited to be a shooting guard, being that he is able to score off the ball, on the ball, and just anywhere on the court, to be honest with you. His shot creation skills is not questioned by any. But what was questioned, though, was whether his scoring ability and all the great stats he was putting up in his past 3 years was able to contribute towards winning. But obviously, he is showing this season that with the right pieces around him, he definitely could be a primary scoring option on a team and definitely make a team better. So with that being said, yes, I have him as a number 4 option on this team. No, he is not no two-way player. And no, I'm not going to say he's the best scorer or the best anything. But he is a very, very damn good shooting guard. And he is definitely qualified for the number 4 spot on this list. And then at numero 3, you feel me? We got Donovan Mitchell, the Utah Jazz. The season he's had his name brought up in MVP conversation as well, posting career highs in points, assists, and 3-point percentage. And he's even shown an improvement on his playmaking ability and his shot creation ability and just being able to create for others. Also, I feel like another underrated improvement that he's made this season is on the defensive end and just fighting through screens and being a very decent on-ball defender. Because of his size at 6'1", it makes it harder for him to really be that good of a defender, to be honest, when it comes to certain situations guarding certain guards in the league. But he does his best, and Utah was a top 5 defense in this league this year. So I feel like Donovan Mitchell, man, he's only going to get better. He's a proven star in this league. He gets only better in the playoffs as well. And it's not a popular one, but some people would even say whether him or Gobert is the best player on Utah. And in my opinion, respectfully, I feel like Donovan Mitchell is definitely the best player on the team. Not only is he the engine that makes that team go and win games, but it's his buckets that really makes them one of the best offensive teams in the league. Now, with the improvement that I mentioned to his playmaking ability, it does help that with the offense that Utah has ran this season, running more of a similar style to San Antonio and a lot of ball movement and more 3-point shooting weapons on the team, it has helped his assist. But once again, we have to credit the improvement that I said when it comes to his passing IQ and just his improvement in reading defenses and how he's just evolved as a scorer in today's league and being able to score from all places on the court at an efficient level. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't want to go on and on about it, but he definitely deserves a 3rd spot on the list for me. Let's go. And coming in at the 2nd spot on this list, we got Bradley Beal. Now, y'all can debate whether this is controversial or not because, yes, although Bradley Beal has averaged almost 30 back-to-back years, I still feel as if this man is definitely probably like top 5 most elite scorers we have in today's game right now. Like, I know it might look like it doesn't translate to success, but like, come on, let's look at the talent this man has had to play with in the past 4 years. Like, although he has Westbrook this year, it kind of took Westbrook to like the second half of the season to really feel like himself again for number one. And we seen how well Washington was doing once that started happening. But not only to mention that, I mean, Washington made the playoffs this year. We can't forget that. Now, I know a lot of people were celebrating them for being a 10 seed this year, and I was not a part of that bandwagon because, like, come on now, a 10 seed, you made the play, and, like, you damn near could, like, not made the playoffs. But, I mean, like, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. They did their thing, whatever the fuck you want to say, whatever. But Beal is a certified bucket. He averaged 31 this year, and if Curry hadn't gone nuclear this year, he probably would have walked away with the scoring title this year. Like, and the efficiency that he was scoring at and how crazy Beal was even going at the beginning of the season when he was averaging like 35 on some shit. Yeah, Beal was definitely finna be in this top 3 category type shit when it came to shooting guards. And in my opinion, like I said, I definitely think he's like a top 5 scorer in the league. But he can work on his all-around game a little bit more in terms of the defensive side of the ball, creating for others, rebounding, etc., etc. But if we're talking about just players or whatever, their individual greatness, yes, he has second on this list. At the number 1 spot, we got James Harden of the Brooklyn Nets. And I know this comes as no surprise to many of you. But yeah, man, he got the number 1 spot. Like I said, no surprise. Got the MVP Harden himself. And yes, obviously, I know he was not the MVP this season, but you get what I mean. But speaking of MVP, he was in conversations before his hamstring injury, and he was making a very damn good case for it, although I don't think he would have won it. With the injury troubles Brooklyn was going through, it really seemed like he was making a run for it. And when he originally got traded there, people questioned whether him and Kyrie would be able to play together, being that they are both 2 dominant ball-handling guards. Not only has Harden proved that wrong and then some, he's even taken the responsibility of playing more of a point guard role for this team and adding an extra dynamic to this team's offense as if it wasn't already good enough. He makes them even better in that role, being one of the best scorers and passers in the league. And it seems like he makes their team better, like in general. Like, he makes the role players better. He makes the right reads on offense. He is still what it is on defense, but I mean, it is what it is when it comes to that. But anyways, though, I'm not going to go on and on about this man's greatness. He finished 3rd in efficiency, 21st in points per game. He was 30th in rebounding, and he's a shooting guard. Like, I feel like, yeah, like I said, I already said I wasn't going to go on and on about this man's greatness, but dude is nice, man. He's definitely a top 5 player in my opinion, and that's really that, though. But if you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe, too, to your boy, man. It really helps the channel, you feel what I'm saying? And also, just comment your opinion down below. Who's your top 10 shooting guards? Who do you think should have been on the list? Who did I miss? Who should have been over who? And yeah, man, this has been Swervo Hoops talking about some hoops, man, and stay easy, y'all.